Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankin. We've got a very fun one today. We're talking about sports movies. And I've got a great panel here with me. Here for the first time. I've got Amaru Moses. Amaru, how's it going?
What's going on, Malcolm? Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on. Talking sports again. So if y'all saw me on FPL, y'all and with the fantasy film fights, y'all might hear some of the same movies, and also try to argue some of these movies down. We'll see what happens.
Also we've got Dan Skipallen. Dan, how's it going?
I'll tell you what, it's going great, Malcolm. I've been looking forward to this one ever since I was invited on. You know, I'm a huge sports fan. I have a whole letterbox of the best sports films of all time. So I kind of watch a few sports movies in my day.
And we've got JTH back. JTH, how's it going?
Going pretty good. I was thinking of wearing my Orioles shirt, but I didn't want anybody to know how much more of a loser that I already am. So, looking forward to this episode. Sports, obviously, I have a big passion for, and love a great show of movies too. So, really looking forward to this one.
And last but not least, we've got Kevin Poss. Kevin, how's it going?
It's going well, Malcolm. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to the show. I love sports. And along with JTH, I had the same thought. I quickly changed my FSU shirt to my Schmodown shirt. But people still know from the Falcons hat how I feel about this season, but it's all good.
I don't know. A lot of people may try to argue that Schmodown is a sport, which technically it is. So
it's true. There you go.
But how the show works is we're going to go roundtable discussion. Everyone's going to throw out a movie that they think belongs on a top 12 list, and then at the end of the night we rank them by voting which one we think is 12, 11 and so on, but we'll get more into that when we get to that point. But to kick off, I'm going to go to Rue for his first nomination.
All right, so my first nomination has got to be, at least in my mind, probably it's my top movie of all time for sports. It's a lot. I think it's a lot of my generation's top movie. They grew up on this. They grew up on this man. I don't have a great impression of him, but a lot of these go in when he's talking about getting into Ryan Gosling being a liability at quarterback or taking people to Gettysburg. My first nomination is Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans is on the board. Kevin, what do you say about Remember the Titans?
We are the Titans. I mean, this would be an incomplete list without this movie. Denzel was awesome, and it showed the racial divide at the time, and it just it spelled it out. With I think showing like the montage with the win streak, kind of like loosened that tension and it brought everybody together, and it made it a bit like a heartfelt moment. And so this one definitely has to make the list.
JDH, what do you say about Remember the Titans?
Well, Schmodown might not remember the Titans, so we want to go ahead and just get it out of there right off the bat, so we don't forget it either. So, yeah, we'll just make this really quick. Absolutely, it deserves to be on the list.
So if that Remember the Titans does make the list, Dan would just say.
Actually, like I said, I have lists of sports movies, all different sports movies. Favorite football. Think about the my 12 additional. So I was no.
And I would have said yes. I actually just watched this for the first time this year. And it's one that I really liked. I think it's really high up on my Denzel Washington movies ranking as well. But yeah, it makes the list very easily. And Kevin, we go to you for your first nomination.
Well, I'd be misleading if I didn't go ahead and put this movie here behind me on up for a nomination, and that one is Space Jam from 1996. I know they're getting ready to try to redo that, but I don't think they'll ever grasp the heart and soul that my generation grew up watching. At least, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, the biggest names in basketball, all come together to watch this. And it's got Bill Murray, Danny DeVito, some really funny parts with Bugs and all his friends. So it's a seminal movie and sports movie on my list. So I want to go ahead and put Space Jam up.
Space Jam is on the table. JTH, what do you say about Space Jam?
I mean, I thought Space Jam was kind of dumb even when I was a kid. I preferred Larry Johnson in his basketball role on Family Matters. As Charles Barkley would say, his acting was terrible. It's ridiculous. And I mean, I like Looney Tunes. I like Bill Murray. There are some things in here that I enjoy, but to say it's one of the best sports movies ever, I can't do that to anybody here. To me, it's a no.
Dan, what do you say about Space Jam?
Yeah, I'm right with JTH there, man. This isn't even on my top 10 basketball movies. That's how far down the list Space Jam is. It just, I don't think it's a good movie unless you're maybe 5 years old. You might enjoy this. As an adult, it just falls apart, completely apart. Now you're dealing with some movie that's 30-something years old. It's not even any good 30 years later. I mean, I don't think it's that good at all. So no, it's a big no for me.
I mean, I'm probably a very old-looking 5 years old person then, because I guess
I am too, Malcolm.
I enjoy Space Jam a lot. I actually rewatched this a lot of times, and I'm actually going to give it a slight yes, which means it goes to Amaru to make the final decision.
Oh, I grew up on this movie too, man. I feel you, man. I'm looking at mine, and I'm looking at what's 12 on my list, and I'm trying to figure out which Space Jam beat it out. And I am hurting either way because this is one of my remember when not necessarily when it came out. I remember watching this as a kid in my second grade class, getting up and dancing. But Kevin, I love where you're going with this, but it's in my top 10 basketball movies, but I don't think I can put it on the top 12, just barely. My 12th I'm looking at, if I really just go with what's real and not my heart, because my heart's with it, I'm going to have to go no. But I love you, man. I love the choice.
Fair enough.
And with that, Space Jam misses the list, which means to be saved by a lot of people complaining about Space Jam being on the list.
Right.
JDH, what's your first nomination?
I'm actually surprised that this movie took this long to get mentioned. I'm going with 1977 Best Picture winner, Rocky. Need I say more? I don't think there's anything more that needs to be said. It created a billion zillion movies that some of them were great, and then there's also Rocky 5, so we're not going to mention that one ever again. But unbelievable movie, told a great story beginning to end. Just unbelievable. Root for the ultimate underdog, and just everything about it is just perfect. So, Rocky.
Dan, what do you say about Rocky?
Well, I have Rocky at number 6 on my top 12 films of all sports films of all time list. So I definitely want it on the list, and I just love the story, the love story between Adrian and Rocky. The underdog coming out of nowhere, and then the ending. Of not having him win in the end, and it just being there and being in that moment at the end and yelling for Adrian, and then the supporting characters, Burgess Meredith and Burt. Is it Burt Young? Was his name Burt something or other? I can't remember the guy's name, but I absolutely love Rocky. It's my second favorite boxing movie, but I absolutely love it, and it's my number 6 on my all time. So yes, for me.
Yeah, Rocky is an easy guess for me. This is one that I just recently watched this year, last year, but I have seen it. It took me a while to actually get around to watching it, but this is one that I really loved, and I don't know why it took me so long to watch it in the first place. Rue, what would you have said to Rocky?
First and foremost, yes, but also yes, only because I know how good it is, not necessarily because it's my favorite. I don't know what it is, but I have like a certain group of movies that are classic that I just don't need to watch. And I think I was a kid and our brother and dad wanted to watch it, and there was a point in time I was like, I don't want to see that, and that's carried over. But I know enough about this movie that I know this should be on every top 10 sports list ever. So it's definitely a yes.
And Kevin, what would you have said about Rocky?
2 things. Like you two, I have avoided Rocky, that whole franchise. Somehow I've just missed it my entire life. Up until this year, and in my first multiplex match, somebody put that on the wheel. So I watched them all. And then I sat here and debated between Rocky 1 and Rocky 4 because it was one per franchise. But I was also going to go with Rocky because of the seminal, it's got the Flying High Now or Coming Home Now or whatever the name of the song is. Him running through Philadelphia and the just all the going back to moments. Apollo Creed is awesome in that. Billy D. Williams. So yes, I definitely would have said yes to Rocky.
But with that, we go to Dan for his first pick.
Well, JTH, you know what? I should have guessed someone was going to bring up Rocky, but I didn't expect it to be the person who went before me, because now I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to talk about another boxing film, which is a better boxing film and a better movie and a better directed film and a better acted film, but it's my number 1 boxing film of all time, and it's my number 1 sports film of all time, one of my top 5 films of all time, and that is Raging Bull, starring Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese, with Joe Pesci as his brother. And this film really resonates with me because of the temper that Jake LaMotta has and the things that he does. Like, you're overcooking the steak. Give me the steak. Give it to me. You're overcooked. He's yelling at his wife. He gets in a fight with his wife over the steak. And then later on, he gets in his fight with his brother over something. But the thing that really resonates with me about this is the boxing and how Scorsese covered the ring with the camera. It had the first rotating camera. And then the quote near the end of the film, "You never got me down, Ray." And him and Sugar Ray Robinson were in 6 fights together. And Sugar Ray Robinson never got Jake LaMotta down. Yeah, he got himself down. That is true. Jake LaMotta got himself down in life, but he never got knocked down by Sugar Ray Robinson. And the boxing scenes are incredible. This is an absolute masterpiece of the film, not just a sports film. So Raging Bull.
Yeah, this is going to be quick for me. I just haven't got around to watching Raging Bull. It's on my list to watch. I just haven't got around to it. Maru, what do you say about Raging Bull?
I haven't seen it either. I'm sorry. I haven't. Again, pocket of films at my age. So let's bring it around the horn.
Kevin, what do you say about Raging Bull?
Yeah, I love Raging Bull because it's a true story. Jake LaMotta is a real person. I mean, going the full 15 round thing is it's a classic story. So It's tough to go to back-to-back boxing movies, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes and put it on JTH.
Come on, JTH. Come on, JTH. Come on.
You, Dan. It just because it's a bunch of boxing movies doesn't mean they're not great. I mean, there's probably going to be another boxing movie that gets brought up. It'll probably be from me, just because it is about boxing. But it seems like boxing is the one that just makes the best quality film. I don't really get just of the actual underdog for him, but yeah, it's an easy yes for me. It's worst movies of all time as well. So yeah.
Love you, JTH. Love you.
Ragey Bull makes the list. And with that comes back to me. And I'm going to go for a different sport, but it takes, similar to boxing, it takes place in a squared ring. I'm going to go for my favorite wrestling movie, Ready to Rumble. Just kidding.
I love that movie.
I was about to say, please don't tell me I'm about to talk about Ready to Rumble, though.
Don't you ever do that to me again.
Oh, man.
No, I'm bringing up the Mickey Rourke movie, The Wrestler. And this is a movie which should have gotten a lot of love at the Oscars. I can't remember how many nominations it actually did get. I don't think it actually got any, but the performance Mickey Rourke has in this of Randy the Ram Robinson, and just showing some of those aspects of wrestling, where it's the whole kayfabe, not so much, but the impact it has on family and all that when they're actually wrestling, and just having some cameos from R-Truth and a whole bunch of other real life wrestlers throughout the movie is great. I think this is a great story. I'm pretty sure it's not a true story. I think it's a fictional wrestler, but it's still showing the stuff that actually happens in wrestling. But this movie is just one of those ones that is great. It's inspiring, and all the acting performances are great, and I think it does belong here. Rue, what do you say about The Wrestler?
I know The Wrestler is a great movie, but I have 12 movies ahead of it. So for me, as good as it is, that's a no for me, dog.
Kevin, what do you say about The Wrestler?
When it comes to Darren Aronofsky movies, The Wrestler is my go-to movie. I am a sucker for wrestling. I love the kayfabe and the behind the curtain stuff, and the way he gets the absolute shit beat out of him. And he's hanging up his tights, he's hanging up his boots, comes back, and that speech he gives in the ring, it gives me chills every single time. So like you said, I love the cameos. Everything about this movie is awesome to me, so I'm gonna say yes for The Wrestler.
JDH, what do you say about The Wrestler?
I mean, I think The Wrestler is good. To me, it's just a shame that it's just such a damn depressing film, especially with someone like me who's such a wrestling fan. Just because a lot of that stuff is true. Because like the biggest success story in that movie was a guy opening a used car lot in Phoenix or something. It's like what a damn depressing aspect of what it is to be a professional wrestler, and not just back then, but sadly sometimes in today's era. So it's kind of a hard watch for me, even though I understand how good it is, and it's kind of deprived me of realizing and understanding how good it is. So unfortunately, I have at least 12 better sports movies up. So unfortunately, it's a no for me.
Dan, what do you say about The Wrestler?
Well, I will tell you that I think, don't quote me now, because people they want to tell you you're wrong, but I think it was based on Jake the Snake Roberts, if I'm not mistaken. The character was. I really love The Wrestler. I think Mickey Rourke gave a phenomenal performance in The Wrestler. But in my own personal list of the best sports movies of all time, I think I got it in the 20s or 25 or 24, somewhere in there. So it doesn't even get into my top 15 or 12 or anything like that as far as the greatest sports movies of all time. And I've seen hundreds of them. So unfortunately, Malcolm, and I thought it was a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I just have other movies that I think are better than The Wrestler. So I'm going to say no.
Which means I'm going to go back to you for your next nomination.
All right, so my next one is actually probably number 2 on my list when it comes to sports movies, and I think it is, as great as this movie is, I think it is highly underrated. It just seems to be forgotten about, and every time I hear it brought up, it's a lot of ohs. And I also love the fact that I have one of the stars is from Oakland. I taught at his school that he went to in middle school. Have a lot of students that went to his high school. Talk about my man Tom Hanks. So I'm putting up A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own is on the table. Kevin, what do you say?
This is one I kind of ride on the fence on. I mean, I like how it's based. I think this is also based on a true story, if I'm not mistaken. It's got kind of that I don't know. I don't like how Rosie O'Donnell Rosie O'Donnell's character and Madonna's character, they don't bring a lot to the table for me there. But I'm a big Tom Hanks fan. So this trying to see here what I'm kind of on the same boat as you, Rue.
One of the best quotes of all time,
a whole list. I know.
There's no crying.
No crying in baseball.
Come
no
on.
crying in baseball. You're right.
Quotes don't make an entire movie, though.
That is right. I have a lot of quotes written down.
They don't, but great movies inspire great quotes.
That is true.
So,
man. I'll try not to hold you guys up. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes for this one. I'll lean towards the yes on this one.
JDH, what do you say about A League of Their Own?
I'll make this real quick. Love A League of Their Own. Love Tom Hanks. Love a lot of the moments in this. It's an easy yes for me.
And with that, League of Their Own makes a list. Dan, what would you have said?
Oh man, it's like 9th or 10th on my best baseball movies of all time. It's not even the top 2 or 3 baseball movies of all time, in my opinion. It's just shocking that you guys voted this on the list. I would have said no.
But yeah, I mean, I love A League of Their Own. It's definitely one that I've gone back to watch so many times. It's just a fun movie and really enjoyable. But Kevin, we go back to you for your next nomination.
I'm gonna go with. Let's go ahead and go with one that I think, since we're talking baseball, one we were actually talking about off camera or off air. It's about the 2002 A's that had the 20-game win streak. This is Moneyball. That movie with Brad Pitt, it was kind of a different role for him. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jonah Hill brought tons to this movie. And there was more to it than just the analytics of baseball. It was kind of like what we were talking about earlier, the story of his home life and how he overcame that. So the story of Billy Bean. I'm a big sucker for true stories, so I want to put Moneyball on the table.
Moneyball is on the table. JDH, what do you say?
Yeah, I love Moneyball. I think Jonah Hill steals with this movie, especially at a time where I don't think Jonah Hill ever had kind of a role like this. Usually he was just the funny man and did all the comedies. But so to see him in this role was kind of surprising, especially for me, because when I first saw this movie, this wasn't really a story I was interested in, because at the time it was like, I know this story. You've been there, done that. And then when I actually saw it, they showed a bunch of other stuff that I was never familiar with, like with, Billy being it. They put his personal life in there with his relationship problems, and I absolutely love that. It was kind of a no pun intended, kind of a curveball that it threw at me. But I absolutely love Moneyball, and I'm gonna give it a yes.
Dan, what do you say about Moneyball?
Well, not to be a broken record, guys. Moneyball is probably 6th or 7th on my favorite baseball movies of all time list. And when you're dealing with only 12, it falls way short of the list of the 12 greatest sports movies of all time. So it's a no for me.
Yeah, I just saw Moneyball for the first time just recently, and this is one that I do enjoy. It's a good movie. I'm probably going to lean towards no for this, just because I like it. I just think it just misses out on top 12 for me. Amu, it's down to you.
Kevin, I promise you, you're my man. I ain't got nothing against you. For me, when it comes to top list, a lot of the times I don't go straight up what's the best movie, period. What really plays into me a lot is what's the rewatchability to. Like the quality is the top factor, but rewatchability has to be there. And for me, I haven't seen Moneyball since I watched it, but it was a great movie, and I have 12 other ones ahead of it, so it's gonna be a no for me, unfortunately.
That's not
I truthfully, I didn't think that was gonna get to me. I thought this was gonna be it. So,
and if that goes back to JDH for his next nomination.
Well, I mentioned it a little bit earlier about another boxing movie, and I'm sure this is going to shock Dan that we're already bringing up a third boxing movie already, but I'm going to do it. I absolutely loved this movie, especially since of the person it was based off of. I'd always heard stories about this famous athlete, and when I heard that they were making a movie about this, I was very interested to see how they were going to do this. I'm, of course, talking about Will Smith in the role of Ali. Ali was a movie, especially considering I don't think any of us grew up in the era where Ali actually fought. So, but we'd always heard stories about who Muhammad Ali was and everything he represented to boxing. So I was curious to see how Will Smith was going to portray this role, because obviously we know Will Smith is a very talented actor, very charismatic, can sell you on anything, regardless of who it is, real life, fictional character, anything. I don't think anybody could have pulled that role off other than Will Smith. He absolutely nails the persona of Muhammad Ali, in my opinion. And it's a movie that I always love. I always go back and rewatch. Every time it's on TV, I go back and watch it. So I always have a blast watching it, especially considering who it's based off of. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ali.
Dan, what do you say about Ali?
And I'll tell you, JT, I think I got Ali at number 6 or 7 on my best boxing movies list. And I'll be honest, I don't think that. I mean, Will Smith is really good in the role, and like you said, there was nobody probably at the time they could have cast that could have portrayed Muhammad Ali the way Will Smith did. But I'll be honest with you, I think John Voight as Howard Cosell steals the movie. I think he's the best performance in the movie. I think as far as a boxing movie goes, it's a good movie, but the star isn't better than the supporting person playing an announcer who is announcing the fights and stuff like that, in my opinion. So I'm going to have to say no for Ali.
Yeah, I haven't seen Ali since it first came out, and I don't remember this movie, and so it's going to be a no. And I think there's a better Will Smith movie which may or may not come up in this.
Mm-hmm.
But Rue, what do you say about Ali?
Ali was one of the movies that I was very surprised I did not get to pick on the fantasy film fights, and for me, the dynamic that that John Boyd and Will Smith had together just raised the movie. And on top of that, it was probably one of the first films that people finally saw Jamie Foxx could do more than make you laugh. One of his best performances. So I am a huge yes on Ali.
So, Kevin, it's down to you.
I am not a big fan of this movie. I feel like it was kind of self-obsessed Oscar bait. And as much as I love the idea and I love the person it's about, I don't like the shots. I don't like the soundtrack that goes with it. I'm just not a big fan of the movie, so I got to give it a no.
So if that Ali does not make the list, Dan, we go back to you for your next nomination.
I'll tell you what, guys, I'm really surprised. I mean, this movie hasn't been brought up yet. I mean, to me, it's easily top 3 or 4 of the greatest sports movies, and one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion. I mean, you could definitely put it on a list of 100 greatest films of all time type list. And, you know, a man who's made his name doing baseball films, and that's Kevin Costner, in the best of the 3 baseball films he has done. Well, he's really made a name for himself in sports films, but he made a name for himself in Field of Dreams. In this movie, if you build it, they will come. Ray Liotta as Shoeless Joe Jackson, and James Earl Jones, and the movie is such a beautiful film about saying how wonderful the game of baseball is, and there's just the shots, the cinematography in the film, and Kevin Costner is just terrific in the film, and I just absolutely love Field of Dreams. And I think if you're going to have a list of the greatest sports movies of all time, Field of Dreams needs to be on that list, in my opinion. So I'm going with Field of Dreams.
Yeah, this is one I tried to find to watch for this list. Still yet to find it. Haven't seen it. So, yeah. So, Rue, what do you say about Field of Dreams?
Malcolm, I love that you have me and Dan on this, because the dichotomy of opinions is going to be hilarious. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan, because I'm a fan, but it's not up there for me. I have a lot of these so-called classic sports films. I'm not going to say so-called. I have a lot of these classic sports films I've seen, and it doesn't resonate with me. It just doesn't. So I'm ready to start batting some of these down just for myself. It's a no from me, not top 12.
This is better than Field of Dreams, Amaru.
Kevin, what do you say about Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams is like a puzzle that the pieces don't fit together. It's got all the right pieces. I love the cast, love James Horner's score to it. But man, it's like every kind of fantasy needs that thread of like logic to hold on to, and this movie just doesn't have it for me. I just am not a big fan of this one either. So this one gets a no for me.
JTH, Field Dreams does not make this list. Kevin Costner didn't build it enough, so no one came. But what would you have said about it?
Field of Dreams is around 13 or 14 on my list, but since a couple of them have been knocked off my list, I probably would have said yes, simply just because some of them have already been knocked off my top 12. So I would have put it in there just because ultimately I don't really know what other movies I could have put in above it ultimately, but oh well.
Wow. A League of Their Own is going to be on this list and not Field of Dreams. That's a travesty.
I know a lot of people will agree with you. I definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we all couldn't put our 6th favorite baseball film on this list.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's my third favorite. It's my second favorite. baseball film. My second
We
favorite.
had to save room for Rookie of the Year and Angels in the Outfield and all those good.
But,
my second favorite baseball film, actually.
But yeah, I'm going to. It's back to me. I'm going to go for my favorite Disney sports movie. From this. This is one that I really loved ever since I saw it as a kid. And it's going to be definitely a fun one. It is known for famous scenes such as kissing the egg, feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. It's bobsled time. I bring up Cool Runnings. This is just a fun movie and very inspirational of this Jamaican team who comes in and goes to the Olympics to compete in bobsledding. This movie is definitely sort of one of my favorite ones that Disney have done, and this is just one that it's John Candy's last film appearance, apparently. But this is just one that is a fun movie to watch. It's one that I will always go back to when I'm feeling down. It's one that always inspires me a lot to try and do better, to try and just train and get up there. But Amu, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
Malcolm, I love you, man. I love you for just bringing this movie up. It's, again, a childhood favorite of mine. I absolutely love it. Dougie Doug is I just love anything he's in. But I'm gonna have to say it did not make my top 12, even though I love this film. So for me, it's a no.
Kevin, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
We got if you want to talk an underdog film, this is it. And I grew up right when this was one of the best films, that was going. So I'm going to say yes to this one.
JTH, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
I never got into this film. I get the story. It's a great inspirational moment, Jamaican bobsled and all that, but it's just never one that appealed to me. So I think I saw it once when I was a kid. I never got back to it. So it's a no for me. So let's go to Dan, who say that he knows about 10 other bobsled films that are better than this.
This is his fifth favorite bobsled.
I actually really enjoyed Cool Runnings, and I think it's a fun film, and John Candy was great in it. I have a different Disney film in my top 12, but this isn't even in my top 50 sports movies of all time, and that's the reason why I'm going to have to say no. But I do enjoy it, though, Malcolm.
And with that, goes back to Amaru for his next nomination.
All right, so surprisingly for me, as basketball is my favorite sport, I haven't nominated one of these yet. But this one is again another underrated movie that is one of my top sports films, one of the top documentaries I've ever seen, and just an amazing story. Again, it's connects to me, it connects to a lot of people I know. I lived in the city for a minute, and my nomination is Hoop Dreams.
Hoop Dreams is on the table. Kevin, what do you say?
I got to be honest, I have not seen Hoop Dreams. I thought you were about to go in a way different direction there. I have a different kind of under the radar basketball movie that I had in mind, but no, I haven't seen Hoop Dreams, so I can't give you that one. Sorry, Rick.
JDH, what do you say about Hoop Dreams?
Unfortunately, I have to echo what Kevin said. Everybody that I have talked to that has seen this movie has said that it's great. Unfortunately, I've never gotten around to seeing it, so unfortunately, I cannot give an opinion on it.
Dan, what do you say about Hoop Dreams?
I have seen Hoop Dreams, and I saw it when it came out in theaters. And I'm telling you right now, it's a great film. It's a great film about these two guys who go in two different directions in the inner city of Chicago. One goes to Marquette, and one just kind of gets in on the wrong side of the tracks. And I'll tell you what, it's one of the greatest documentaries you'll ever see. But it's dated. and it's my second favorite basketball film of all time, actually. And I had it in my top 15 or 14 or something, and I've got some knocked off. So with that math, guess what, guys? Number 12 is Hoop Dreams. So I'm going to say yes.
Hoop Dreams doesn't make it because I've not seen it. But,
Okay.
yeah. But Kevin, what's your next nomination?
Switching over from basketball to my favorite sport, football. And I'm going to kind of stick with Malcolm here with the Disney stuff. My favorite Disney related film, sports film, is 2009's The Blind Side. It's the true story of Michael Orr. He was a homeless black teen. Everybody probably knows the story. But Sandra Bullock won the best, I believe it was Best Actress that year for the Oscar for Best Actress. Super surprising performance to me from Tim McGraw. I didn't really expect that on screen. Kathy Bates was great as usual in what limited role she had. So definitely want to put The Blind Side on the table.
JDH, what do you say about The Blind Side?
As a Ravens fan, it almost was an obligation for me to actually see this movie, to kind of see the story of how his life played out. It's a shame that his football career did not translate to how great the movie was, but it's a very very wonderful film. It told a great story, and obviously true story. You feel the emotions, the relatability that Michael Orr suffered growing up. So, and as Kevin pointed out, a lot of great acting performances as well from Sandra Bullock and among others. So it's a yes for me.
Dan, what do you say about The Blind Side?
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I love the movie. I love Sandra Bullock as Leanne Toohey. I love her husband. Trivia question: what fast food franchise did he own a bunch of? Anybody know? Taco Bell. Taco Bell. He owned a bunch of Taco Bells.
Taco Bell.
That's a trivia question. Keep that in mind, guys, for the future. That might come up in something. And I think the movie's fantastic. But like I'm broken record. It's like 8 or 9 on my greatest football movies of all time. Which, if you do the math, you only get 12 spots, and I can't honestly say yes to The Blind Side. So I'm going to say no.
Yeah, The Blind Side is one that I've seen a couple of times, and I do enjoy this movie, but I'm going to give it a slight no, just because I think it falls outside of the top 12 for me. But in saying that, it's still down to Amo again.
I'm just not even gonna. No, sorry. No.
Don't sugar.
I just feel bad. This keeps happening. It keeps happening.
JDH, it's back to you for your next nomination.
All right, I'm going to go with a guilty pleasure of mine. I've been a NASCAR fan all my life, so I always grew up watching this movie as a kid and all the way through my life. It's Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. I've always been kind of a sucker for this movie, even though I know it's not great, quote unquote, but I love the cast in this movie, obviously with Tom Cruise, Carrie Ellis, Michael Rooker, Robert Duvall. It's just everything I love. Great cast, a lot of great quotes in this movie as well. The infamous go out and hit the pace car because you've hit every other goddamn thing out there. I want you to be perfect. Everything about I love this movie. It tells a great, another great underdog story about Cole Trickle. Didn't really want to be, a NASCAR driver, wanted to do open wheel racing, wanted to go to Indianapolis. And then this opportunity arose, and the rest is history. And just the comeback story that happened when he got injured, and everything that came. Everything is it's a wonderful movie. So I'm going to put up Days of Thunder. So go ahead. No. So I'm already waiting for it.
Dan, Days of Thunder is on the table. What do you say?
I'll tell you what, JT, I love Days of Thunder. It was actually parts of the movie were filmed in the town I live in Florida, and I live 25 minutes from Daytona International Speedway. Been there 4 times, 2 500s, 2 400s, and I love this movie. I love Tom Cruise in this movie, Nicole Kidman in this movie. But it's way down on my list of sports movies, and I can't honestly say yes to something that's so far down on my sports movies list. But I do love the movie, so I'm going to have to say no.
Yeah, out of all the racing movies that that could have been a guilty pleasure, I didn't think there would be this one. And out of all the Tom Cruise movies, I think there's infinitely better Tom Cruise sports movies to pick from. And I mean, I've also not seen this movie as well, but yeah. Rue, what do you say about Days of Thunder?
Haven't seen it either. I just haven't. I'm sorry.
Kevin?
I figured it was coming.
Well, I know about stock car racing from watching ESPN. The coverage is excellent. You should try it. You'd like it. I'm sure I would. No, I like this movie a lot, but I echo the sentiments of the others. I wouldn't have put it on the list.
Don't come in the pitch right now. We're eating ice cream. Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Dan, it's back to you for your next nomination.
All right, guys. See if we can get one on the list here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. When I was about 12 years old when this movie came out, and in the starring actor of this film is somebody that I absolutely grew up watching, and I was a big fan of this person. And then it had like a supporting acting role from another great actor that I grew up watching in the 70s. But it wasn't till this role in this film that I really had like tremendous respect for Gene Hackman and his role as the head coach of this little basketball team in Hickory, Indiana, which is based on a true story. To me, just really resonated with me. Her performance really reminded me of my father a lot. He looks like my father, but the Dennis Hopper character reminded me of my father. In later years, myself, and the whole when they go to Indianapolis and he's measuring the hoop and he measured the lines. I actually did that at a middle school basketball game because I couldn't think of anything to say to the team I was coaching. And I said, you know what? Just because they're this bigger team and they have all these better athletes, look, the hoop's still the same and the measurement. I took that whole line from Hoosiers and the picket fence and I mean just. It reminds me of my favorite basketball player of all time, Larry Bird. He's from a little town called French Lick, Indiana, in Hickory, Indiana. Very similar type of place where there wasn't anything to do. You know, you play basketball. That's basically what you did. And I'd be remiss if Hoosiers did not make the top 12 sports movies of all time. I mean, I'd be shocked if this does not get on the list.
Be prepared because it might happen.
Yeah, I've not seen it. Rue?
We 2 for 2, Dan. Another one of these classics I'm knocking all the way down. If you watched me on FPPL, you saw my thoughts on this film.
No, I didn't watch you on some other show.
I just said it was overrated, and I have a couple other ones that I have that are overrated, and I am moving it on to the next one. It's a no for me on that one too.
It's not overrated, Amaro.
Again, that's why I love having you on here because we have different opinions. It's again doesn't resonate with me. It never did, and I've tried, but I couldn't. I couldn't. I have maybe 2 basketball films
This is better
over
than
this for
Hoop
sure.
Dreams. This is actually better than Hoop Dreams.
Again, difference of opinions, but I'm with you on why, but it's a no for me.
But Kevin, what do you say about Hoosiers?
I'll say this. Yeah, use the force, Jimmy. I love the halftime speech. Gene Hackman is fucking awesome in this movie. We've got to get this one on the list. I feel like it is a classic sports film. So I don't know how JTH feels about it, but in my mind, it is a seminal sports film.
Well, let's find out. JDH, what do you say about Hoosiers?
Okay, so funny story. In my first movie Battleground match, I actually had to fight for Hoosiers between Rudy and Hoosiers without actually having seen Hoosiers. Sadly, as you might be surprised, I did not win that argument because I didn't have anything to base off of in that argument. So after that match was over, I went out of my way and saw Hoosiers, and I loved it. So it's a yes for me.
There we go.
And I am fine with that.
And now you owe me.
Nah, it's a good movie, Rue. You should see it.
Well, I have. I just, again, it's not top 12. That's what I'm saying.
I feel you. I feel you.
But anyway, it's back to me for my next nomination.
By the way, the coach's name is Norman Dale. Norman Dale, that Gene Hackman played.
That's
And
right.
I'm going to go for a movie that's directed by someone who has directed 2 sports movies, to my knowledge. Arguably, he's got another one coming out, but this one's directed by Gavin O'Connor. It stars Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. I'm bringing up Warrior. This is one that I watched specifically for this list because I've heard so much about it and just wanted to watch it. I know if Andrew and Ben Bateman ever watch this, I'll be glad it's brought up. This is a movie that I love so much after watching it for the first time, and this is about UFC fighters just getting at it with an underground thing, just to teach but everything that's sort of gone to whether it's their relationships with their family and all that, just everything that they go through in this movie. It's just feels so real and so great. And it's just, yeah, there's a lot I can talk about this movie, but everything is so great, the acting and all that. But Rue, what do you say about Warrior?
This is one I've kept hearing about again and again and again. And when Nick Nolte got nominated for the Oscar, I was like, I wonder why. And then I saw it finally, and I understand why. And Warrior is amazing. It is a amazing just movie in general. So I am a big yes for this.
Kevin, what do you say about Warrior? Warrior it was a different kind of movie when I saw it. It's not what I expected, but man, it was it's powerful and it was violent. Hardy and Edgerton are just amazing in it. They are so convincing in their roles. When Hardy beats the first guy, Mad Dog Grimes, I mean, it's like watching a real UFC event. You know, to me, that's what it was like. And it just kept me on the edge of my seat the whole movie. So yeah, I definitely will say yes to this one.
JTH, what do you say about Warrior?
I've actually not seen Warrior, which is a movie that I was wanting to get around to, but sadly never have. So since I've gotten vouches of how great it is, maybe I should get around to seeing it a little bit quicker now.
And Dan, what would you have said about Warrior?
I'll tell you guys, I absolutely love Warrior. I love, this is just another little trivia question. First movie movie role for Frank Grillo. He was the training coordinator, the fight coordinator in the movie. And then they lost their person that was supposed to be that guy, and they was like, hey, can you we give you a few roles. And frickin' Frank Grillo turned out to be great. And then the rest is history about Frank Grillo, But I love Nick Nolte's role as the father. Both sons don't like the father, and both sons hate each other. And, as a brother, I have a couple brothers, and we don't get along and stuff. And, sometimes we don't talk for months and whatnot. I really resonate with this film. I would have said yes. I'll tell you what, Gavin O'Connor, I'm telling you guys, The Way Back, guys, phenomenal film, The Way Back with Ben Affleck. Gavin O'Connor knows how to make a great sports film.
Yep, and with that, Warrior makes the list, and we go back to Ruth for his next nomination.
All right, so I'm going to just make this quick. If Kirk sees this, he's going to kill me, but I don't care. The Sandlot is a classic movie. It is a classic sports film. The Sandlot is amazing. Period.
Now remind me, Sandlot is that movie with Ghostface in it, isn't it? Kevin, what do you say about The Sandlot?
The Sandlot. I mean, where are we at?
You're gonna put The Sandlot on over Field of Dreams?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I've still got a big list here of my own movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandlot is one of those I grew up watching. I grew up liking. It's quotable. You're Killing Me, Smalls. I don't think. We have 6 spots left, and I don't think it fits into those 6 spots. So I'm going to give it a no. But just barely.
JDH, what do you say about The Sandlot?
This movie to me is kind of like Cool Runnings. This is just a movie I never got into. I get that it's beloved by some people. It's not me. It was never my kind of film. So it's a no for me.
Dan, what I know what you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, come on, this isn't better than Field of Dreams.
I just simply haven't seen it. So
all right. Well, I needed to throw it out there. So
no, fair enough. And we got to get a Modown reference out of it. So, but Kevin, what's the next movie you're going to throw out there?
The next one I'm going to throw out is Miracle. That is the historical drama. I feel like everyone I throw out has been a historical drama so far. But it's the historical hockey film. Another seminal sports classic, I feel like. The locker room speech is something that I just always go back to. I can just kind of watch that on YouTube and just kind of get pumped up for. I used to watch it before, before I would referee games in high school for high school football. But yeah, I love Miracle, and I love the story about how it's America beating the Russians, and it's got that Cold War, victory feel to it. So yeah, I'm going to put Miracle up.
JDH, what do you say about Miracle?
This movie was kind of in that same territory with Field of Dreams. It was right outside of my top 12, but because obviously we've had some other movies that got knocked off my list, I'm going to say yes and put it in there. It's kind of funny how people were complaining that Kearns wasn't on there, and we're probably going to get Rocky and a Kurt Russell film. So yeah, it's like he was never here, right?
Dan, what do you say about Miracle?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was alive when these events took place, and I actually saw them, the 1980 Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. And I saw this, and one of the greatest sports calls in all of history. Do you believe in miracles?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I mean, in the heart of the Cold War, for this guy to create a team, train them, work with them, and he knew the guys he wanted weren't the best guys, but they were the guys he wanted. And Kurt Russell's fantastic. Another Gavin O'Connor, absolute gem. I wrote a nostalgia review about this last week because I knew I was going to be doing the way back review this week. And absolutely love Miracle. It's in I think I got an 8 or 9 on my top 12. So yeah, it's a big yes for me.
Yeah. But yeah, I do believe in miracles. You sexy thing. I but I also, this is another one I actually watched fairly recently. Because I was going through movies on Disney Plus. That does like Miracle. I've told Coons I've watched this so many times. I think I'll actually get around to it. So I did. I love it. I'm saying yes to it. Rue, what would you have said to Miracle?
Kevin. Yes.
I finally got one.
We got one.
That's what I'm talking about.
2 Gavin O'Connor films. Incredible.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, especially making the list with back to back, which is the other thing.
And then the way back is out this week, and that's Gavin O'Connor. It's like, oh wow, this guy's in the magic touch right now.
I mean, the way back is why we're doing this list now. So
I know.
JTH, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
Okay, I need to do something. I probably should have brought this up or asked you sooner about this, but I'm going to mention a movie that I don't know is actually qualifies or is eligible for something. But so I'll just ask you: Would you qualify The Karate Kid as a sports movie?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
Karate is a sport.
Yeah.
All right, then I will put up the Karate Kid.
The which version?
The original. Did you have to ask? I appreciate the the.
I bet
But yes,
I bet Amaro's young enough to where he thinks the new version is the better version.
No, he's probably young
it is
enough to
not.
thought
I
that
like
was the
both
other
of
version.
them. I like both of them.
I'm kidding with you.
But yes, just in case you were wondering, the original version, the original Karate Kid.
Yeah, no, I just checked because they're both called The Karate Kid. So
Yeah.
it's like if someone brings up The Lion King, which isn't a sports movie, it's like which one? Because there was 2 different, which is the exact same name. So.
The good one and the not so good one.
Actually, the new one's not bad. Actually, it's not bad.
It isn't. It isn't at all. It's actually really good.
I was shocked how good it was, to be honest.
But Dan, what do you say about The Karate Kid?
I love you, JTH, and I love the Karate Kid. Don't get me wrong. I mean, wax on, wax off. I mean, and then this new show on YouTube and all this stuff. So the nostalgia of the Karate Kid's coming back, but it's like way down on my list of sports films. So I have to say no.
You owed me, Dan.
I know, I'll get you. But this is way down. I couldn't give you this one.
Yeah, I mean, I tried watching the remake for this list, but I just couldn't finish the remake. I haven't seen the original, so I can't say yes, but I've seen enough How I Met Your Mother to know that Ralph Macchio is totally the villain, according to Barney.
Yes.
Rue, what do you say about The Karate Kid?
This one's one of the on the fence ones for me. I'm looking. Oh man. JTH, I'm sorry, man. It's a very close no, but not. I'm gonna say no for that.
Well, I'm glad I took the effort to get that judgment.
Kevin, what would you have said about The Karate Kid?
I'll be quick. It's a no, but get him a body bag. Yeah. No, I love that movie, but it is just too far down the list.
You for your next nomination.
It's just so weird sometimes how these things work out. I mean, we just got a hockey film on the list, and of course, my next film that I'm going to talk about is a hockey film. But it's a hockey film that I grew up on, and people my age and older absolutely love. And you know what's weird is I watched the Frozen 4 maybe 6 or 8 years ago or something in there somewhere, and I'm watching Notre Dame and Michigan and all this. And wouldn't you know it, the kids, the children of the Hanson brothers are playing for Notre Dame. And Paul Newman is fantastic in this film, but it's the Hanson brothers, these guys that are just absolute brutal, just trust me, you did not want to be on the ice with these guys. They were a bunch of bastards, and they just destroyed people. But this is the comedy of it, and the sports of hockey, and then Paul Newman. I mean, one of the great actors of all time, and he's great in it. And but I had to bring up Slapshot. I wouldn't be living with myself properly if I didn't bring up Slapshot, because I think it's easily one of the top 12 sports movies of all time, especially with people my age and older in the 50s and so forth, because we grew up on this, and there was so many. You guys talk about all the different things. I can't remember all the different lines of dialogue but if you watch Slapshot, there's a lot of funny lines of dialogue. There's a lot of quotable things between Paul Newman and the Hanson brothers and whatnot. So I had to bring up Slapshot. I'm sure you guys, half of you probably haven't even seen it, but I wanted to bring it up anyway.
When you're talking about the Hanson brothers being in this movie, I thought, did I miss a sports movie which had the band Hanson?
I totally did the same thing. I just had to look it up.
I haven't seen Slapshot.
Wow. JT, what are we doing with this crew, JTH? What are we doing?
Man.
That away.
Where people
That away.
It's JTH.
No, I'm gonna put this one on my list though, because I like the look at the cast, and I mean you've convinced me on it, but I just haven't seen it.
JDH, what would you have said about Slapshot?
You're lucky no one else here said yes, Dan, because then you would have owed me twice, because I really like this movie, and so I would have said yes.
Yeah,
so
because you know how good it is. Unbelievable.
Well, I mean,
millennials.
I mean, just like Kevin, I'm going to put it on a list to watch at some stage if we can find it. So I mean, it's just hard to say yes to a movie you haven't seen. So
I know. I knew half of you guys wouldn't have seen it, but I had a feeling JTH saw it. He was like, yes. I knew all the things. And the Hanson brothers, aren't they great? I mean, they're like fucking brutal bastards, aren't they?
But yeah, I'm going to bring up a movie that's fairly recent, and it is a racing movie. I'm bringing up Ford v Ferrari, and this is one that, like, yes, it skirts the surface of sports movie, but it is still technically a sports movie because it is about racing and into there. And this is one that I think is great. Like Matt Damon, Christian Bale are great in the roles of Shelby. I can't remember the other guy's name, but this movie is just fun. It's just showing what happened behind the scenes of the whole sort of, let's make sure that we all three of us cross the finish line at the same time to make a good shot and image. And, I think Ford v Ferrari, even though it's recent, I think it belongs on a top 12 list of sports movies. But Rue, what do you say about Ford v Ferrari?
I absolutely love this film. It was one of my favorite films of the year last year, and I'm again trying to just go through the list of movies on top of the ones that I already have, and want to make sure I'm gonna go yes. I'm gonna say yeah. This would be my 12. This would be my 12 right here.
Kevin, what do you say about Ford v Ferrari?
You guys know I'm a sucker for the historical movies. And Christian Bale and Matt Damon, I think, were unbelievable. This was in my top 10 for last year's films. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes to Ford v Ferrari.
That Ford v Ferrari does make the list. JTH, what would you have said?
It's a little too recent for me. I still haven't got around a chance to see it, so wouldn't have had an opinion.
And Dan,
I loved it. I mean, it made my top. I think I had it at number 6 or 7 on my top 10 movies of the year last year. And the editing is incredible. Some of the best editing I've ever seen in a movie, and great performance by Matt Damon and Christian Bale. That being said, it's kind of way down on the list of the greatest sports movies of all time, in my opinion. So I would have said no.
But yeah, so we go to Rue. What's the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right. Sorry, I'm new here, guys. I just want to double check on this. Would Creed be considered a Rocky film that we can't nominate it?
Yes, it's in the Rocky.
Okay. All right. Just double checking. Some people
Well, it's
consider it
Malcolm show. I guess
but
ask him, but
I mean, I didn't say we can't have multiple movies from the same franchise on here. So if you want to nominate it,
I thought you posted that in the green room. My bad.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did.
if I said it, then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is a if I would have, that would have been it. But my next one is, again, one of those that I was looking at. I was like, man, I should have remembered this. This is, I think, Malcolm, you mentioned one of these earlier in terms of a much better Tom Cruise movie. Jerry Maguire is not only a great sports movie, not only a great movie, not only a great romantic comedy, not only just a great everything about that movie. It hit so many boxes of not just being a sports movie, and the performances you got out of Cuba, the performance you get out of Regina King, Renee, and all of them. Absolutely, another movie I grew up on and loved it. Even when I haven't seen it recently, I remember so much of it. So I'm going Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire is on the table. Kevin, what do you say?
Show me the money, baby. I think Cuba Gooding Jr. is amazing in this, as is Tom Cruise, TC Legend. So I'm gonna say yes to Jerry Maguire. I love this movie.
JDH, what do you say about Jerry Maguire?
This is tough for me. It's around 18, 19, but again, I would be pushing it because based on the movies that I've knocked off, it would get to 13. But there's another movie on my list that I'm going to bring up next that probably half of you probably haven't seen. The other people probably would say no regardless. So I'm gonna take a risk and I'm gonna say yes. I'll put it on here just because I'm probably looking ahead to something I already know is going to happen.
And with that, we are showing Jerry Maguire a spot on this list. Dan, what would you have said?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, Jesus. First of all, Cuba Gooding Jr. won the Oscar, and he shouldn't have. It should have went to Edward Norton. Edward Norton freaking easily had that trophy won. Why they gave it to, because he said, show me the money. First of all, there's barely any football in the movie. It's a romantic comedy, not a sports movie. So this is ridiculous that you guys voted this on a movie for the best sports, a list for the best sports movie. There's barely any sports in the movie. He's in a Arizona Cardinals uniform for maybe 5 minutes in the movie. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, this is one I would have said no, just because it does skirt the surface of sports, but I mean, yes, it's not technically a sports movie, as in not sort of aimed towards the players themselves. I can see why it gets considered a sports movie, but I mean, it's one I've got no problem being here, but I personally would have said no. It just would have been just outside my list, but anyway, Kevin, we go back to you for your next nomination.
My next nomination is going to be one that's it's a little outside my usual realm. but it's one that I've always gone back to. It's one that I used to sit and watch with my grandfather. It's the original 1976 version of The Bad News Bears, with Walter Matthau as Morris Buttermaker. He's a drunken asshole kind of coach of a ragtag baseball bunch of misfits, basically. Vic Morrow's in it as the coach of the, I think the Yankees is the name of the team. And some other bigger names at the time in the 70s. The 70s aren't really my biggest, favorite time of movies, but when it comes to this particular movie, I definitely go back to this one with fond memories. So I love this movie, so I want to put Bad News Bears on there.
Bad News Bears is on the table. JDH, what would you have said?
Kevin, were you reading my mind? Because this is exactly the movie I was talking about. This was the very next movie I was going to nominate. This is one of my favorite baseball movies ever. It's a different kind of comedy, just because of how raunchy it is. But, it helped me learn things about baseball. Never swing on a 3-0 pitch. I never would have known that if it wasn't for the Bad News Bears. And
that's right.
It's unintentionally funny. I don't think everything they tried to do in that movie was meant to be, pure comedy, but it just worked just because of how the characters played off each other. So I absolutely love this movie. It's a definite yes for me.
Dan, what do you say about Bad News Bears?
I'll tell you what, I was a kid. I watched the Bad News Bears, and I have a good buddy of mine who watched the Bad News Bears. I mean, Jackie Earl Haley was fantastic when he had hair. Walter Matthau was hilarious in this movie. I just have other movies that I want. I even have another baseball movie that I want to try to see if I can get nominated on the list. I just don't think the Bad News Bears is like number 8 or 9, maybe even number 10 on my top 10 baseball movies of all time. And so I'm going to have to say no. And I do love the Bad News Bears with Walter Matthau and Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah, I've been in interesting predicament because I haven't seen the original one from Walter Matthau, but I've seen the other ones. I've seen the other one. But so yeah, for that reason I can't say yes. I've got to say no. Rue, what do you say about Bad News Bears?
JTH, I was hoping Dan was going to give this one to you. I haven't seen it, man. I haven't.
I feel you, buddy.
So I knew exactly what the predicament was going to be.
Your prediction was still right, though, JTH.
Yes, it was.
Now you get to put another one out there.
JTH, what do you say about what's your next nomination?
I'm actually kind of surprised that I forgot to bring this up earlier because it's not only one of my favorite sports movies, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. I'm, of course, talking about Caddyshack. As a golf course maintenance worker, Caddyshack is something that we talk about almost all the time to pass the time away because life on the golf course sometimes is boring. So it's either that or another golf movie that is kind of overrated. I hope no one else brings that one up. But everything about Caddyshack I love. Rodney Dangerfield is typical, classic, vintage Rodney Dangerfield. Everything about this movie I love. It's comedy gold. I would put it probably in my top 3 comedies of all time. So, yeah, I'm going to put up Caddyshack.
Dan, what do you say about Caddyshack?
I'll tell you what, JTH, you read my mind because my next pick was going to be Caddyshack. Oh, my freaking God. I love this movie. It's easily one of the funniest movies of all time. And I'll tell you what, this cast, Bill Murray, I mean, these guys, there's so many. They even created a place about 45 minutes north of me in Florida, in St. Augustine, Florida, where it's the whole Caddyshack theme, and it's owned by Bill Murray. I love Caddyshack. And Mark Ellis, you'll be proud of us.
Yeah, this is one that I don't honestly remember if I've seen. I know I've seen that Gopher clip so many times at quiz nights, but that's all that I can remember. And I tried to find this to actually watch for this, but I just couldn't. So I'm going to say no. Roo, what do you say about Caddyshack?
Well, we're waiting. Huge yes. Very much so.
There you
Kevin,
go, JTH. I got
what
you.
what would you have said about Caddyshack?
Oh man. Well, what we buy a hat like this? I bet you get a free bowl of soup. No, I love Caddyshack. I think it's funny, and yes, I think it's funnier than the other golf movie that will hopefully not get brought up.
Well, you got the worst slice in the history of golf. You should aim that way. Why? Because you got the worst slice in the history of golf.
And with that, we've got 2 spots left. Dan, it's back to you for your next nomination.
All right. With that, I just want to ask a question, Malcolm. 'Cause I meant to ask you this before the show, and sports movies that are on TV, does that count? Or that we're on TV? Huh?
No, I'm not going to count made-for-TV sports movies.
Okay, because all right. Well, I was going to bring up Brian's song, one of the greatest sports movies of all time. Especially if you don't get a tear in Brian's song about Brian Piccolo and Gail Sayers, you're just not a human being.
I agree with you there, though. That with James Caan and
Phenomenal.
yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
So now that we can't bring up
Yeah.
Brian's song, which is a travesty. Jeremy gave me crap about this a while back on the best football movies list I did a while back. But it's a movie. It's sports. It's a sports movie. So it should be able to be on the list. But I digress. So I'm going to bring up my other movie that I absolutely love. Maybe JTH has seen this. Probably the other guys have not seen this. But I'm telling you guys, you're going to regret not seeing this movie if you haven't seen it because it is fantastic. It stars Nick Nolte as a guy by the name of Philip, and he is a tight end for a football team. And of course, the life of a football player, the life of the upper management of a football team, but the life of the players in the 70s. And it really captures kind of the really inside of what a football team and what's going in a person's head, and then the people above him, like the upper management and stuff like that, and the relationships and the things you have to deal with to keep playing. It really has one of the most genuine like knowledge about the game of football, even though it took place in the 70s and it stars Nick Nolte. It's called North Dallas 40. And I'll tell you right now, you won't find many football movies that really get to the inside of what it's like to be a football player. And it's Richard Roper turned me on to this movie about 20 years ago, and I had never seen it up until then. And when I saw it, I realized, wow, what a great movie, and the things athletes have to go through with their body, and then dealing with contracts and the upper management, and just it's not fun sometimes just because you're an NFL football player. There's a lot of work despite being a player on the field. There's a lot of work off the field to keep your name relevant, keep your body in good conditions and stuff like that. So I'm nominating North Dallas 40. I know half of you guys probably haven't seen it.
I mean, I've not even heard of this movie. I'm not going to lie.
It's phenomenal.
So, yeah, that's a no for me. Rue, what is?
Never heard of it.
I know, because you guys just aren't. Oh, never mind.
I'll put it on the list, but I haven't heard of it either. So sorry about that.
Please tell them you saw this movie.
I have seen it, so I'll give. I would have said no. It just didn't resonate with me enough to put it high enough on a top 12 list. So it would have been a no for me.
All right, that's fine. I mean, there's no. At least you saw it. I was hoping at least you saw it, JDH.
All right.
At least I got to talk about it for 5 seconds.
It's back to me for my next nomination, and there's only 2 spots left, which is hard.
Yeah.
I am going to bring up a golf movie. I'm going to bring up
Here it
not the
comes.
one that you all.
No,
not
I know
the
which one he's got to bring up.
I'm going to bring up the one you don't think it is.
I think I know which one you're bringing up.
I'm bringing up the Legend of
I know the other one.
Legend of Bagger Vance. Yeah. Yeah, Bagger Vance. Yeah.
It's not even a good movie.
I disagree. This is a great movie. This one does not get talked about a lot. This is just a really great story. Like Will Smith is Bagger Vance, Matt Damon. This is just one of those movies in which I didn't know what to think when I went into this to watch it. But it's one that I think goes under the radar so much and just really doesn't get talked about a lot. And this is just one that I think deserves to be on here, and I think it's a great movie. Rue, what do you say about Legend of Bagger Vance?
It's a no. It's not top 12 for me. Not yet. This isn't top 12 for me.
Kevin?
Legend of Bagger Vance. It actually holds a little bit of a kind of like a close spot in my heart because it's set in Georgia and that's where I live. Coming down to the wire it makes it so hard. I was hoping this one would get brought up too. I think I'm going to go ahead and say yes. It's got a stacked cast. I mean, like you said, it doesn't get talked about enough. I feel like it's kind of swept under the rug as a sports movie, but it really is great.
JDH, what do you say about Legend of Bagger Vance?
As I said, being a golf course worker, Golf Channel's on all the time. They show it on there a lot, and I've seen it. It's good. I wouldn't say it's top 12, so it would be a no for me.
And Dan, I know what you think about this movie, but tell us.
There's better golf movies, Malcolm. There's better golf movies that you could have brought up. This isn't even in the top 3 golf movies, let alone top 12 of all time.
But anyway, Rue, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, so this is depending on the mood I'm in. Forget the mood. This is probably my favorite basketball movie. Hoop Dreams is great, but it's a heavy thing to watch sometimes. This is by far my favorite basketball movie. 2 actors who were in their prime at the time, and it just, again, it's the resonation with me, and the fact that the cons they played and the relationships they had with each other, the amount of comedy and drama that went into this sports film is amazing. I'm talking White Men Can't Jump. My favorite basketball movie. My favorite basketball movie of all time, probably.
Kevin, what do you say about White Men Can't Jump?
White Men Can't Jump is a definite yes for me. I love it's Snipes and Harrelson, right?
Yeah, Snipes, Wesley and Woody.
Man, that was probably one of the first movies I watched that was like it was like rated R or whatever, and I had to like sneak it in and hide it and watch it late at night. So yeah, that one just that one is a definite yes for me.
JTH, what do you say about White Men Can't Jump?
I never saw it as a kid because just looking at the title, I was like, it's making fun of me, so I'm not going to watch that. So, I obviously watched it a little bit later on as I grew up, and unfortunately, because I was so late to seeing it, it just never resonated with me as much as it probably would have if I saw it when I was younger. So it'd be a no for me. I like the cast and like the moments that it has, but it's not quite high enough on my list.
Dan, what do you say about White Men Can't Jump?
Well, I just did a show today, not to plug myself, but the Top 5 Weekly, where we talked about basketball films, and myself had it at number 3 on my top 5 basketball films of all time. So if you do the math, it's not going to make the top 12 sports movies of all time. And I think Amaro got this from Peggy. Peggy put him up to this.
Not at all. I did that Jeopardy scene, the half-court shot. all of it. It is.
I love it. I love the movie.
Yeah, White Man Can't Jump is great.
I have nothing against the movie. I love the movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's 3 on my basketball list, which means if you do the math, it can't make a top 12 of all time because you can't put a movie that's that far down on the basketball list on the list of the greatest of all time. And one of them's already got voted off. So, I voted for yes for Hoop Dream. So I'm going to say no for White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah. This is it's all down on me now. But this is tough because on one hand, I do like White Men Can't Jump. On the other, I don't think I love it more than a couple of others I've got on my list that I will want to see back this list. So I'm going to give it a slight no, but that was really one that's just kind of on that edge. Kevin, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
The next one I'm going to bring up, I feel like if I don't go ahead and bring it up, it won't get brought up or I won't get another chance, is one of my favorite sports films. Probably it may be my favorite sports film, and that is Rudy. There are a couple of key scenes that I wanted to talk about. The scene with Charles S. Dutton in the tunnel, where he tells him to get back out there, is just he's sick of excuses and stuff. That's a gut punch. It's just overall to me, I think it's a beautiful movie. I think it deserves to be on an all-time, or at least a top 12 list of all-time great sports movies. So let's put Rudy on this list.
JDH, you mentioned going up against Rudy in the battleground. What do you say about Rudy?
Well, like I said, at the time I had never seen Rudy, just because at the time I despise everything Notre Dame. It just everything I can't stand. So I always tried to avoid this movie, but I got around to seeing it, and it's fine. I mean, to me, it's nowhere near a top 12 quality sports film. Maybe it's just my Notre Dame bias that I just don't give a crap to put it on a list like this. So I'm going to say no.
Dan, what do you say about Rudy?
So we voted North Dallas 40 down. Brian's song doesn't make the list. My number 13 on my personal top list of all time is, guess what, guys? Rudy. And guess what? I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. Even though the story of Rudy Rudiger is exaggerated, if you talk to Joe Montana, he will tell you because he was there. They kind of exaggerated the story. John Favreau, great. I mean, Charles S. Dutton, great. I'll tell you, I love this movie. This is a football movie, not Jerry Maguire. Yes, for me. Yes, for me.
You just lost your owe me.
Yeah, I've never seen Rudy, so it's all on Amaru.
3 up, 2 down. Another one that Rudy is not for me. It is not. It is a no. It's out of the top 12. I'm sorry. Those are the 3. Those are the 3 I knew I was going to hear, and I was just ready to just get them out of here. So, sorry, man. But no, for Rudy.
JDH, what movie are you going to bring up next?
Okay. I'm going to bring up the other golf movie, the other one that I wasn't going to mention because I'd forgotten about it at the time. I'm going to bring up another Kevin Costner movie with Don Johnson, Cheech Marin.
Good call.
Classic quotes, shooting them chili peppers up Lee Jansen's ass. Of course, talking about Tin Cup. It's just the ultimate, Roy McAvoy, and then Roy McIlroy starts playing, and everybody always confuses the two. Can never say the right name. But I love everything about Tin Cup. It's just, again, another movie that I think is unintentionally funny. I don't think everything they do in there is meant to be, pure comedy. Drinking, the night before you go out and play the U.S. Open, That's John Daly shit right there. That only he would do. And Gary McCord in classic Gary McCord fashion, and it's just I love everything about this movie, and just Don Johnson, typical Don Johnson dick character that you expect from. And I love everything about this movie, so I'm going to go with Tin Cup.
Dan, what do you say about Tin Cup?
I love Tin Cup. I just don't love it enough to put it on the list of the greatest sports films of all time. Plus, there's a golf film that I think is even better than that, or Bagger Vance for that matter. I think if you guys have ever seen the movie, but I just have to say no. I mean, Kevin Costner made his bones on his sports movies, and this is one of those movies. But I have to say no, JT. As you know, I wrote a whole. I had a strength in a match not that long ago. My strength was Kevin Costner sports movies. So I rewatched Tin Cup, and I knew that question was going to come up from Tin Cup, and it came up. And of course, who was it? Somebody else answered because they ended up getting my Kevin Costner category, and I'm like, no, you got my category. It killed me when they got my category, because I would have got a perfect 10 for 10 in my Kevin Costner sports category. But I'm gonna have to say no for Tin Cup, JTAs. I'm sorry.
But yeah, when I was looking up movies to watch for this, this is one that Peggy told me that I needed to, if I needed to watch for this. Sadly, I just haven't watched it. I haven't got around to tracking it down to find to watch. But Amaru, what do you say about Tin Cup?
I haven't seen it either.
Oh man.
Oh man, I'm sorry, I haven't seen it either. Somebody I knew had the VHS, and I just remember staring at the VHS like every single day, but never getting around to watch it. I haven't seen Tin Cup.
Kevin.
Well, Peggy's my partner, so of course I sing Tin Cup. Kevin Costner, Rene Russo, and I'll just say this: sex and golf are the only two things you can enjoy, even if you're not good at them. So I'll leave you with that. But you would have got
it's a golf movie that didn't have violence or beating up Bob Barker, so I knew people weren't going to say yes to it.
Yeah, I feel you.
I mean, but yeah, Dan, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
Oh boy, am I in a predicament. I have 3 movies on my top 12, my personal top 12 list, but I would be willing to put money on it. You guys haven't seen. JTH is probably the only one that's seen maybe 1 or 2 of these. Maybe Kevin might have seen 1 or 2 of these, but I'm just so torn between what I want to bring, because I don't want to waste my pick, because I know you're going to vote it down anyway. Oh God.
Go with your heart, man. Go with your heart.
I'm just going to go with it because I think, I just want to bring it up, and I just think it's just, to me, there's somebody in the movie that didn't win an Oscar, and they should have won an Oscar, but then they're in the sequel and they win the Oscar for the sequel, but they should have won it for this one. So I'm going to bring up The Hustler with Fast Eddie Felson and Minnesota Fats with Jackie Gleason. I absolutely love The Hustler. I absolutely love The Hustler. This is a phenomenal film. If you haven't seen The Hustler, do yourself a favor. Skip The Color of Money. Skip. And I'm saying skip a Martin Scorsese film. I love Martin Scorsese. Go see The Hustler. It's a better film with better acting. And wait, it's black and white. No one's going to go see it. It's black and white. Forgot about it. You guys won't go see it. The Hustler. I'm bringing up The Hustler.
You see, I have seen The Hustler.
Oh, my God.
It's also a movie that I think is okay. I'm going to say no.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, figures.
Haven't seen it.
Kevin.
I've seen it. I kind of agree with Malcolm. It's okay. It's I don't see putting it in the last 2 slots though.
All right.
Yeah.
JDH.
Sorry, Dan. I actually haven't seen it.
That's fine. I had a feeling it was going to get voted down. I just wanted to bring it up.
No, it's not. It's not a bad film though.
I will say, if you had brought it up earlier, I might have actually said yes, but we're at the point now where it's just the cutthroat territory where it's the fighting for the last two spots.
I had 3 things I was going to bring up, and the other 2 I know you guys would have voted down. So I was like, oh, let me see. Maybe they'll go for The Hustler. I mean, I knew all 3 of the ones I wanted to bring up. Knew y'all would have voted all of them down, so it didn't matter to me.
Right, it's back to me. A couple other people have brought up guilty pleasures. I'm bringing up one of mine. See, cheerleading is a sport. I'm bringing up Bring It On.
Oh no!
I love Bring It On. This is as I said, this is a guilty pleasure of mine. I do not care who knows it. Kirsten Dunst is amazing in this movie. This is just fun, and entertaining. It just one of those ones. And I think it's one of cheerleading is classified as a sport. So I mean, it's well, I'm frozen.
You've been frozen a little bit off and on.
But anyway, Bring It On is a fun movie, and yeah, I just love it a lot. Kirsten Dunst is amazing, so yeah. Amaru, what do you say about Bring It On?
Oh man, this was my 12. This was my 12. And while I was thinking, and then I saw other movies, Bring It On is amazing. I want to say yes, thinking that everybody else will say no, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Again, love you, Malcolm, for what you're bringing up, but I got 3 other movies I'm putting up there, which again, it's long shots like you, but I do appreciate you bringing it because that is one of my personal favorite guilty pleasures as well. So I give you some spirit fingers as I say bye to that.
Kevin, what do you say about Bring It On?
I like this one. I like Bring It On Again. But I'm kind of with Drew on this one, man. It does fall into my guilty pleasure pile of the early 2000s movies. Kind of in that Clueless, 10 Things I Hate About You. I know those aren't sports movies, but that's just kind of where I kind of, in my mind, I put that with those. But man, she really puts the itching bitch. This is tough. I'm gonna say yes. I'll say yes to this.
JD8, what do you say about Bring It On?
I've never seen it. I didn't even know they even made sequels to it. So,
Sorry, Malcolm. No,
I have a little sister, so just to be fair, everybody out there.
Look, it's called cheerleading. You cheer, you lead the cheer for other sports. It's not a sport. It's an athletic activity. It's an athletic activity. But you lead the cheer for football in basketball.
I don't know if you've seen competitive cheerleading, man, but
I'm
not touching that.
It's athletic. It's an athletic activity, but it's not a sport.
Way more athletic than I could ever be.
So basically, you're saying that if someone brings up Chariots of Fire, it's not making this.
I almost brought up Chariots of Fire. It's track. It's running. It's running. It's the Olympics. The Olympics. The Olympics in sports, aren't they? Aren't the Olympic sports, guys?
Oh yeah, running is definitely a sport.
Anyway,
I agree with you.
Arguably, though, Scrabble will probably be an Olympic sport within about 8 years. So
I think
qualifies as a sport anymore.
I mean, in a world that chess is considered a sport.
Yes.
Cheerleading is a sport too. Anyway, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, I mentioned I have 3 films. I have, again, one is another basketball film. I have one that's another baseball film. But the one I'm going to pick, I think, is on top with Caddyshack. It's just different eras. One of the most classic sports comedies ever. Just more from my era, and I don't think I could. I would be able. I have to bring up how great, hilarious, and a good sports movie The Waterboy is. The Waterboy is. It's classic. It really is. So I'm throwing that out there.
Kevin, what do you say about The Waterboy?
I say foosball is for the devil. No, I love this movie. I grew up with it as well. I think Rue and I are probably about the same age, from what I can tell. But yeah, let's see. I've got at least 3 more football movies on here. 4. I don't see us getting around to me that many more times. Of course. So, yeah, why not? Let's go with Waterboy.
JDH, what do you say about The Waterboy?
This movie is the devil. I mean, I don't get the appeal of this movie. I get it's quotable and all that. And this is when Adam Sandler was as funny as he ever was in movies, which is not saying much considering what he had later on in his career. But to me, it's weird with me because I love comedies and I love sports, but I don't tend to like a lot of comedic sports movies because usually when they do that, it's because they're making a mockery of the sport that they're doing, which usually I always have a problem with. There's a few exceptions like Caddyshack and all that, but they do it lightheartedly. This is kind of just making fun of it and all that. And so it never really appealed to me. So to me, I have to go with no. I never got what The Waterboy represented.
Dan, what do you say about The Waterboy?
This is one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. Once again, I was wondering if this was going to come up because once again, it was filmed in the town that I live in. The ratty old football stadium. That's the football stadium in my hometown that the high school and college play at. Of course, it doesn't look anything like that now because the money they got from The Waterboy gave them money to renovate the stadium, and now it's all nice and fancy and everything. So they actually filmed that, and then they filmed also in the Citrus Bowl, which is the big stadium in Orlando. So, yeah, a lot of my friends were extras. There's a guy in a lime green shirt in the crowd. You could probably see him. Good buddy of mine. One of the assistant coaches is in there. He's a good buddy of mine. So a lot of my friends were in the extras of The Waterboy. But that being said, it's way down on my list of greatest sports movies of all time. And I love it. I love the movie. I think it's hilarious. But no, it's got to be a no for me.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Sandler's definitely made a lot of sports comedies. That, come to think of it, along with Will Ferrell, who's also done a few sports comedies, but surprisingly none of them have been brought up yet. But,
hopefully, will not.
Oh God! Oh God!
But I'm going to give it a slight yes because it is one of his better sports comedies.
I might put that 12 under movies I have not seen.
But Kevin, it's back to you for your next nomination.
All right, since Waterboy made the list, I'll hold off on my football movies. I'm gonna go kind of a off kilter here. Probably a bad time to do that, but one that I just wanted to throw on here and see if you guys agree. And speaking of, is this a sport? And this one is Dodgeball, a true underdog story. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. I know quotes don't carry movies, but Justin Long, this I feel like was his come up movie. Vince Vaughn as Peter LaFleur versus off against Globo Gym. Ben Stiller brought that character, White Goodman, to life, and it was just such an awesome. Rip Torn plays Patches O'Houlihan, and rest in peace to Rip Torn. It's just one of those movies that I can watch at any time and just feel good. It's a feel good story, and it even says in the title, a true underdog story. I mean, so putting it out there, Dodgeball, a true underdog story.
JDH, what do you say about Dodgeball?
It's a no for me. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's not top 12 for me.
Dan?
No.
Yeah, it's a quick no for me. I love Dodgeball, but it's no. Amaru.
Kevin, I'm just gonna attach this to Waterboy as one full movie because I actually like Dodgeball better, and this would be my interchangeable. I was going between the two. So as Waterboy is in there, I'm also just adding Dodgeball in there as the same movie, filling the same space.
At least I got one.
JDH, we're back to you for your next nomination.
All right. Thinking about where I should go with this one. I'm going to go back to baseball. Let's see if it's one of Dan's, second or third favorite films, and not in the top 15. Yeah. I'm going to go to the late 80s. One of the most memorable baseball character personas. I'm of course talking about Charlie Sheen as the Wild Man, Wild Thing. I'm going to go with Major League. This was always another guilty pleasure of mine. It just another one of those exceptions where I think the comedy actually worked in one of those sports movies. It just a memorable character that Charlie Sheen played, regardless of what you think of Charlie Sheen. To me, it's a movie that I actually still enjoy. I think it's actually really rewatchable, and always been a fan of it. So I'm going to go with Major League.
Dan, what do you say about Major League?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm just going to tell you a real quick story. I was hoping it was going to come back around to me so I can make another pick. But just because I wanted it to come back around to me so I can make another pick doesn't mean I should vote no on something that I think is a great movie. That if you're going to say Jerry Maguire, League of Their Own, Waterboy are on this list, and you're not going to vote. So I'm not going to vote down Major League with those three already on the list. And that's a much better film than all three of them combined, in my opinion. And it's a phenomenal film. I mean, a phenomenal film. And it's a phenomenal sports comedy. That I'm going to vote yes to, even though I would like to have had it come back around to me. I'm not going to not vote for that, JTH. These guys, I can't vouch for them.
Yeah, I've seen Major League once. Don't really have an urge to see it again. Not a big fan. It's an easy no. Amaru.
JTH, this was my baseball movie I just talked about. It's win the whole fucking thing. I love this film. I grew up with this film. It might be my favorite baseball film. And yeah, I'm good with this filling this last spot. Yes, Major League is definitely in for me.
Kevin, you decide here. No, wait. It's Major. What would you have said about Major League?
I would have said yes. Major League, either one. I actually like Major League too, but Major League is
all three of them.
Yeah, they're all great to me. Charlie Sheen as Wild Thing, and I loved the first one, getting to meet the characters and kind of I don't know so much about the Charlie Sheen or the love triangle with Ricky Vaughn, but yeah, I mean that's just that's an easy yes for me.
The movie that a lot of people probably figured out who Bob Uecker was.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right. Just a bit outside.
Love Bob Uecker.
Don't think this one's got the distance.
Okay, I love Bob Uecker.
But yeah, that wraps up the 12 movies for our sports movies list. But yes, I'm good to sort of go over some honorable mentions that I had. If the Waterboy didn't make the list, I would have brought up Adam Sandler's The Longest Yard. I haven't actually seen the original, but I loved Sandler's version of it.
Burt Reynolds is better.
No, I
It
like
is.
Sandler better, but
I don't doubt that. I just haven't seen it. I would have. That's why I would have gone for Sandler's Longest Yard. And I would have. I was tentatively probably going to go Earbud at some stage because I do love that movie. It's a fun movie. Better Like Beckham was on my list. I did have things like I did have Talladega Nights. I think that's the better Will Ferrell sports comedy. I had Basketball.
I had basketball, Malcolm.
I had Coach Carter, and as a one that I didn't when I first heard this movie, I didn't think it was a sports movie, but it totally is Early Man. It's a fun movie. With the voice of Timothy Spell, and but it's essentially a sports movie technically. And the other one, but that one that I probably would have brought up if I was running out of picks is Mighty Ducks. I enjoy Mighty Ducks. I just not enough to want to bring it up for this list. But Marie, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, my other Adam Sandler movie was Happy Gilmore.
Ugh.
It's just what I grew up with. Coach Carter for me is actually a little overrated. I like the film, but I also lived in the Bay Area for a long time, and just the inaccuracies of surrounding that film. Because I once I moved there, but the our greatest what's the speech that Timo gives in the gym is amazing though. The basketball movie that I was talking about though that I would have brought up is He Got Game. He Got Game is another amazing basketball film. One of a great Denzel performance. Jesus Shuttleworth, even though Ray Allen can't act worth anything, it's still the story that comes with it, father-son dynamic. Those are the other ones that I can think of that I also brought up.
Kevin, did you have any honorable mentions?
I did. I have several. I'll run through them real quick. Varsity Blues, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, 1994's Little Giants. Let's see, Any Given Sunday, The Fighter, Friday Night Lights, Invictus, We Are Marshall, Gridiron Gang, The Damned United, and Above the Rim with Tupac and Bernie Mac, Marlon Wayans. I really like that movie. That was the basketball movie I was talking about. Amara.
JDH, what honorable mentions did you have?
Kevin mentioned We Are Marshall. That probably would have been the next one I would have brought up. And another one that kind of gets forgotten, Mark Wahlberg in Invincible, which was a true story about Vince McPaul. So those two would have been my next two.
Dan, did you have any honorable mentions? I know you've got a long list.
Well, my number 2 sports movie of all time is Pride of the Yankees. Gary Cooper plays Lou Gehrig, where he gets Lou Gehrig's disease, and then has to make this speech about his whole career and how much he loves baseball and all that. It's my second favorite sports movie of all time. Even though I'm a Red Sox, that movie gets me every single time, and Gary Cooper is phenomenal in it. You brought up Chariots of Fire, Malcolm. I was going to bring that up. I knew no one would vote it on, though, but Vangelis, that score by Vangelis is phenomenal.
Oh, man, that's...
And these two guys that are trying to do this for their country, and it won the Best Picture Oscar. I mean, it's a Best Picture Oscar winner. Chariots of Fire is, but I knew a lot of people weren't going to go for it, so that's why I didn't bring it up. Bull Durham. I thought when you brought up Major League, JTH, I thought you were going to do Bull Durham. I'm like, yes, he's going to do Bull, and then you did Major League. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to vote Major League down, not just so I could get another chance to pick a movie. And I knew you guys would have voted Pride of the Yankees down. Cinderella Man. Oh, my God.
That's a great one.
Cinderella Man. I absolutely love that film. Jim Braddock. The Natural. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Robert Redford is so phenomenal in that. Robert Duvall, not Glenn Close. Is it? Yeah, Glenn Close. I could go on and on. Mystery Alaska, Seabiscuit,
Mystery Alaska is great.
The Greatest Game Ever Played is a great golf movie. Got out there. You want to talk about a great golf movie? Watch The Greatest Game Ever Played with Shia LaBeouf. Phenomenal golf movie. What they do with the golf ball in that is ridiculous. Great. Usually watch the special features. You see how they make the golf ball do that. I could go on and on. I, Tanya. I mean, I could go on and on, Malcolm. The Hurricane.
Now we get to the fun part, which is ranking them. So you're going to on a whiteboard, if whatnot. We're going to write down the movie we think should be 12. Mo's going to get his whiteboard, but I'll just recap what did make the 12. So at 12, got the 12 movies we've got on the list. Remember the Titans, Rocky, Raging Bull, A League of Their Own, Hoosiers, Warrior, Miracle, Ford v Ferrari, Jerry Maguire, Caddyshack, The Waterboy, and Major League. It's definitely a interesting bunch of movies, but it's one that when you're doing a show like this, it's going to be a lot. It's also a lot of fun as well. But I've already got my one written down for 12. But yeah, I'm going to start. Dan, what do you have for 12?
The Waterboy.
JTH.
Because I haven't seen it, Ford v Ferrari.
Kevin.
The Waterboy.
Ammo.
Dodgeball / The Waterboy.
Yeah, there you go.
I actually, even though I love this movie, I actually went Jerry Maguire just because it's sort of on the fence of sports movies. But Waterboy is going to be 12,
which doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Dan, what do you have for 11 there?
Jerry Maguire.
JDH.
Say Ford v Ferrari.
Kevin.
Jerry Maguire.
Amu.
Hoosiers.
And with that, it's going to be Jerry Maguire. That's what I've got on my board as well. All right, JDH.
Ford v Ferrari.
I had Caddyshack.
Amu.
I'll be here for a while.
Dan.
A League of Their Own.
I put Ford v Ferrari.
Uh-huh.
So Ford v Ferrari is going to be 10.
Oh, good. I don't need to do the punchline. I was going to do the next one.
And I mean, it's not that I hate Ford v Ferrari. It's just that
It's new, yeah.
The company not named Chevy versus the company not named Mercedes.
Kevin, what do you have for 9?
Caddyshack.
Amu.
You know where I'm at.
I've got Major League. Dan.
A League of Their Own.
JDH.
The other one I haven't seen, Warrior.
And we go to You want to do a wheel or?
Well, I'll go to the comments. So basically, we've got
Yeah, okay.
Major League, Hoosiers, A League of Their Own, Caddyshack, and Warrior. Mention in the chats which one you think should be 9. You can help.
Chat.
I know Stardrew was there. Garth was as was there. So
2 people.
yeah. But I'll get the wheel set up just in case.
What'd you have, JT?
I had Warrior.
I'll switch, Malcolm.
To Warrior?
No, I'll switch to Major League.
Oh, okay.
If we could do that, can we do that?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
I'll switch. I'll switch to Major League, Malcolm, if you want.
I mean, it's up to you. If you want to switch to Major League, you can.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do it just to save time. I'm just going to do it to save time. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Yeah.
so Major League.
It's all good.
What was 10 again, Malcolm? What was 10 again?
Ford v Ferrari.
Thank you.
Yeah. Which is lucky because
There was a split in the comments.
well, a split between 2, but
Oh no, there was somebody else in there. I thought I saw. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that wouldn't have worked because you named it. It's the same thing on YouTube. If you had a random YouTube channel,
No, I wouldn't do that.
See, this is where I will do this. Right, Amo.
Hoosiers.
Just because I haven't seen it, I went Hoosiers. Dan.
A League of Their Own.
JDH.
Warrior.
Kevin.
I stuck with Caddyshack. So
Unbelievable.
Hoosiers deserves a lot better than 8.
Yeah, way better. Unbelievable.
That's sad.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things.
Oh yeah, I know. It's bound to happen, but
it's why I sometimes love and hate this
the voting process. Yeah.
Because I mean, like everyone's got so many different opinions. It's so easy to get upset when a movie that you really love gets put so low.
Well, on the positive, at least it was voted the greatest basketball movie based on this list.
yeah.
It is the greatest basketball movie of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got that right then.
But Dan, what do you have for 7?
League of Their Own.
JDH.
Warrior.
It's time to get Caddyshack off here.
Amaru.
Caddyshack.
And yeah, this one is purely because I haven't seen it. Raging Bull, but Caddyshack is going to be 7.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
I love the movie, but it was just top 6. Come on.
Thank you very little.
Thank you very little. All right.
Just to recap what we've got left, still got Remember the Titans, Rocky, Raging Bull, A League of Their Own, Warrior, and Miracle left. What is going to be number 6? We'll find out after these messages. There is no messages. Dan, what do you have for 6?
League of Their Own.
JDH.
Warrior.
Kevin.
A League of Their Own.
Amaru.
Miracle.
How I still have Rageable, but A League of Their Own is going to be 6.
And now you play Jonah Hill drinking Coke Energy. Warrior. Save you the hassle.
Oh god.
Jeez.
Actually, I don't know why I erased my board, but Kevin,
I got Raging Bull.
Amu,
Miracle.
Dan,
Warrior.
Raging Bull.
All right. I'm not gonna Warrior. Let's put Warrior there.
Thank you, Amaru.
That's a top 3 movie.
No, it's 5.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
How about Hoosiers being way down there?
I totally agree.
I don't
with you
even,
there.
I didn't even put anything on my thing here. I'm putting it to my face and everything, and I forgot to put something down.
Amu,
That's
what,
down now.
what do you have for 4?
Miracle.
Kevin,
Miracle.
JDH,
Miracle.
Miracle.
Raging Bull.
We almost agreed on something.
But just like in the nomination process, back-to-back Gavin O'Connor in spots.
What am I missing here?
I know what we're missing.
Um,
I had to scroll up in the chat to make sure.
Yeah,
Right, so we've got Remember the Titans, Rocky, and Raging Bull left. The first 3 that we nominated,
oh,
and I
that's what it
totally
is.
agree, Garth. Warrior should be higher, and
Yeah,
Star
me
Drew
too, Garth.
is unhappy that Miracle is as low as it is.
Star Drew is happy.
But Dan, what do you have for 3?
Rocky.
JDH.
Remember the Titans.
Kevin.
I have Raging Bull.
Ooh.
Amu.
I have Rocky.
Ooh.
I have Raging Bull.
Well,
JTH, come on, man. You're not going to
which
get
boxing movie with
He's
JDH?
not going to vote Rocky off.
As well, he shouldn't.
I gotta go Raging Bull.
I knew he was going to go. He wasn't going to vote his own movie off. I knew it. Now we vote for the winner, right?
We vote for number 1. That is correct.
All right. Raging Bull should have won this whole thing. I know what Amara was voting the best movie. I'll tell you right now. I know exactly what Amara says on that board.
Dan, what do you have for
Rocky is number
JDH?
1.
Rocky.
And Kevin.
My number 1 movie is Remember the Titans.
Mine.
I knew it, Amaro. I knew it.
Mine.
Come on, Malcolm.
Come on, Malcolm.
I love both of these movies. But the one question I have is, why won't anyone remember the Titans?
Hey,
Left side.
Unbelievable.
Strong side.
There we go.
Unbelievable.
Even though you screwed me on everything, Omar, I still love you.
Man.
Bro.
Me too, man.
Anyway, our top 12 sports movies, according to this group of people here. We have got at number 12, They're Waterboy. At number 11, we've got Jerry Maguire. At 10, we got Ford v Ferrari. At 9, we got Major League. At 8, we got Hoosiers. At 7, we got Caddyshack. I almost said Candy Shack. At 6, we got A League of Their Own. At 5, we've got Warrior. At 4, we've got Miracle. At 3, we've got Raging Bull. At 2, we've got Rocky. And at number 1, we got Remember the Titans. But this is a fun list. I've got the poll up already for next week's topic, which are all Schmodown related in relation to the freefall coming up. But Dan, where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me at my name, Dan Skip Allen, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, or a bunch of articles that I wrote and sports articles. Yeah, I wrote a lot of sports articles, and I write movie reviews for a website called cinesportstalk.com. That's cinesportstalk.com. Go there and see all my sports articles and movie reviews. A new website that I write for is called Disappointment Media. That's DISIPPIONTS Media, MEDIA, which I wrote a nostalgia review about Miracle and a recent review about The Way Back, starring Ben Affleck. So go there and you can see my reviews of those films.
JTH, where can people find you online?
You can follow me on Twitter at WWEJTH1, and you can follow my YouTube reactions for Schmodown at JTH. Just posted my my reaction to the Schmodown Live at Atlanta. I enjoyed being on here. Decent list, except for the Water Boy. You could have put a 0 after that 12, and then it would have been ranked appropriately. But other than that, I enjoyed being on here. So thank you for having me on.
And Kevin, where can people find you online?
You can find me online on Facebook. I'm all around the fan leagues. My team is with Peggy Gubbins. We are in the team tournament, so check us out. Our first round match is against We're Your Density. That's Adam and Brandon. Also, I wanted to bring up Peggy's Birthday Bash, Fantasy Film Fights on feature presentation. That's Wednesday. I'll be on that as well, so check out that if you will.
Amu, where can people find you online?
You can find me Facebook, Twitter, Amaru Moses. Also on IG Reviews and on YouTube. It's a little hard to figure out, but Yuri Reviews. So IG, but I do YouTube reviews, reactions, have a little music podcast with my boy. And then so around this community, doing a lot more judging and a lot more of these shows. I'll be on Top 5 with Dan tomorrow. And getting ready to get into more trivia, hopefully. So y'all see me around.
Yeah, and you can find me on Take 3 hosting late night with Take 3 every Friday night. This week we're going to do Pixar because it's the one we were going to do last week, but because I completely forgot I had something else on, we didn't do it. But I'm just going to move that topic to next week, just because I can. And you can find me next week on Rankum. The topic is going to be Schmodown related. So it's going to be one of the ones on the poll, obviously, because if something else ends up, I made an open poll by mistake. But anyway, you can also find me in the fan leagues and hosting Full Metal Random, which happens randomly during the week. A lot of the time it ends up on Tuesdays, but depending on schedules, it will end up on random days of the week. It's going to be on tomorrow, and Dan is going to be competing in a 2010s match against Brandon Dunlap and Brooklyn Vale, aka Kenneth Lee. But
probably gonna lose.
Have confidence yourself, Dan. But yeah, it's good. From all of us here, and until next week, keep listing shit.
Go Knowles.
I like that.